Israel has the Samson option. Israel has the Samson option. What does that sentence mean? Well, I've heard that sentence quite a few times in the past few months because I like to follow current events. Okay? A lot has happened in the Middle East recently, right? So I follow different YouTubers who talk about current events, right? Geopolitics, what's happening in the world, what's going to happen in the future. Israel has the Samson option. I've heard that sentence quite a few times, okay? So what does it mean? Well, in this video, I'm going to teach you what it means. So smash like and let's get going. Okay, so Samson, what is that? Well, that's a name. Samson is a person's name. It's a male name. Many men and boys, they're named Samson, right? Have you ever met someone named Samson? Okay, so Samson was a man who lived about 3,200 years ago. Okay, 3,200 years ago. It's a long time ago. And he lived in the land of Israel, kind of in the area between Jerusalem, although Jerusalem didn't exist really at that time, kind of in that area between Jerusalem and Gaza. Sorry guys, my throat is a bit scratchy today. So that area, in case you like geography like I do, then you can look on a map, or you can kind of visualize that area, kind of between Jerusalem and Gaza, that area. Okay, and in that area, about 3,200 years ago, there was a simple couple. Couple means a husband and wife. Okay, and the wife was barren. Do you know what barren means? Barren means you cannot have children. Right, so if you hear the phrase, the woman is barren, that means she cannot have children. Okay, so that's a bit sad, right? But anyway, God promised to give them a son. All right, so this story is recorded in the Bible. Right, if you want to read the story, maybe I should post it down there. I'll pin a comment. I'll try to remember to pin a comment down there with the story so you can read it. Okay, it's in the book of Judges in the Bible. The book of Judges, chapter 13. It starts and it goes for 3 or 4 chapters. Okay, so the story would take about, I'd say about 20 minutes to read. Yeah, only takes about 20 minutes to read if you want to read the whole story. And it's an interesting story. Okay, so when we talk about Samson option, that phrase is talking about that man named Samson who lived about 3,000 years ago, right? So God promised them a son. Now the son, he said, was not going to be a normal son. He's going to be special. Somehow he's going to be special. Okay, so we're kind of waiting. Okay, what's this son going to do? What's he going to be like? And as you read the story, you find out some interesting things. And one interesting thing about Samson is that he had supernatural strength. He was a very strong man. God gave him supernatural strength. Has God given you supernatural strength? Can you beat, like if 1,000 people were to attack you, could you beat them and win? Well, read the story of Samson. It's interesting stuff. Okay, so that's the first thing to know about the name Samson. That name today in the world, in people's minds, is linked to strength. Maybe you didn't know that. Okay, so the name Samson, maybe you want to name your son Samson if you want him to be strong and do some stuff in the world, right? Okay, now Samson had had one problem. He loved women, right? He really loved women. And so long story short, if you want to make a long story I don't want this video to be an hour long. I want to just get to the point and tell you what Samson option means. I just need to lay some groundwork before I tell you, so that you will understand why that phrase talking about Israel, why it makes sense. Okay, so let's lay some groundwork. That means I need to prepare you, I need to teach you some things so that you'll understand. It's just like for housing, right? Look, see some construction is happening here. See right there, there's going to be a house there. There's already a house here. They're building one right there, and there, and there, and there. Okay, they're laying the groundwork. Okay, that stuff, the foundation of a house, that's kind of called the groundwork. They're laying the groundwork for a house. Well, many houses to be here. Okay, so I'm teaching you the story of Samson as groundwork. I'm laying the groundwork so that you'll understand what this term means, Samson option. Okay, so he had a problem. He was attracted to women, and women led to his downfall. All right. How many men in the world, if you're a man, you know what I'm talking about. How many men in the world have been taken down by women? So there was a woman Samson loved named Delilah. There's another name that has a meaning to this day. Okay, when people hear the term Delilah today, they think about a woman who is who's good at seducing men. Okay, good at attracting men, and she's not an honest woman. She's not a good woman. Okay, so that word Delilah has that meaning, has that connotation today. The word connotation means like that meaning attached to it, right? So like for guys, there's some people coming up on the path over here. I'm gonna turn around and go back over here toward the sun. Okay, so that connotation, Samson, the name Samson kind of has the connotation of strength, or being strong, physically strong. Okay, so Delilah betrayed Samson, and she wanted to find the source of his strength, because his strength was a secret. Okay, now what was the source of his strength? Before Samson was born, God had told his parents that he was going to be a special child, and he was not allowed to cut his hair at all. He was not allowed to have no razor was allowed to be used on his head. Okay, so he would have long hair. So this man had long hair, and he was very, very strong. And so one day, Samson finally revealed to Delilah the source of his strength. And so she was in touch with his enemies. And so she, lulled him to sleep on her lap basically. And so she took a razor and she shaved his head. Okay. And then she called the enemies in, and the enemies grabbed him and they finally, because they had been trying for such a long time, but he was beating them, right? But finally, okay, I'm trying to make a long story short here. Right, trying to take maybe four chapters of the Bible and try to condense it into just a few minutes. Okay, so finally the enemies caught him, and they had power over him because he lost his strength, right? He had lost his strength, They bound him with, you know, they basically tied him up and they gouged out his eyes. To gouge out someone's eyes means you basically pull them out, and the person becomes blind, right? So Samson was blind, and they put him in jail. And after a long time, after a while, you know, his hair started to grow back when he was in jail. Okay, he's blind, he's doing work, you know, manual labor. He was a slave, basically. They made him a slave, right? And one day they were having a big party in their temple. The enemies of Samson having a big party in their temple to their gods, and they wanted to bring Samson out, you know, in front of everybody to gloat over him as entertainment. Right? Ah, look at that guy. We beat him. We beat him. He didn't have any chance against us. Okay? That's what it means to gloat. Do you gloat when you win? Let's say, you know, let's say you're a wife and your husband, you have an argument with your husband about something, and then it comes out that you're right. He was wrong and you were right. What do? Do you gloat? Ha! I told you I was right. You stupid husband. You were wrong. I was right. I'm right. I was right. And you get all happy and you get all proud. That's called gloating. Okay? Don't gloat. That's a bad thing. So anyway, Samson's enemies were gloating over him. They brought him in. There were a lot of people, thousands of people, right, in this big building, this big temple. And there's a boy who's leading Samson, because he's blind. Samson can't see. So there's a boy who's leading him, right? And Samson tells the boy, take me into the middle of the room to the pillars that are holding up the whole roof, right? So there were two pillars that were holding up the roof of this big building. And so Samson prayed to God. Samson said, Lord, give me strength one last time so I can take out your enemies. All right? And so Samson put his hands against the pillars, right? One hand on each pillar. And God gave him strength again, and he pushed, and the pillars broke, and the whole building came crashing down, and he killed thousands of people, right? But he also died. Okay, so he died. He's in the house, right? He's in the, well, not the house, the temple, right? He pushes the pillars, everything comes down. He knew he was going to die, but he wanted to take out all of the enemies with him. Okay, so that's kind of the story of Samson in a nutshell. All right, so we laid the foundation. Now let me ask you, do you understand what Samson option means? If we say the sentence, Israel has the Samson option, what does that mean? It means that Israel has nuclear weapons, right? This is quite common knowledge. Israel has never openly stated that they have nuclear weapons, but it's common knowledge that they do have nuclear weapons. How many? I don't know. I've heard different estimates, maybe 200, 300 nuclear weapons. So now think about this, okay? If Israel gets attacked by the surrounding nations, let's say, and they're losing, let's say they're going to lose the war, what are they going to do? They are going to use their nuclear weapons to take out their enemies in their own downfall, right? So they think, okay, we're going down, then all of you are coming down with us. That's what the Samson option means. Smash like if you got it right, if you figured it out before I told you. All right? So a lot of people were asking me to make this video to explain that, because my New Year's video, I used this term. I was talking about how a lot of the words we use in English are actually from the Bible. Okay, like the story of Samson, Samson option. Okay, so now that's what that phrase means. If you hear people talk about the Samson option, they mean if Israel gets attacked and they're going to lose, conventional weapons means normal weapons, non-nuclear weapons. Okay, so that's another term you hear very often these days. People talk about conventional weapons, you know, in countries like Ukraine or other kind of hot spots around the world. Okay, hot spots means places where there's some conflict or something going on, right? People talk about conventional weapons and nuclear weapons. Okay, so if a country is going to lose a war with conventional weapons, well, they'll for sure use their nuclear weapons, right? That'd just be common sense, right? Now you know, every country with nuclear weapons has a Samson option, but this term specifically is talking about Israel. Okay, so when you hear this term, like, other countries don't call they wouldn't use this term, right? Because it's not in their history, it's not in their beliefs, right? Like Pakistan has nuclear weapons. They wouldn't talk about this idea of bringing down their enemies with them. They wouldn't talk about it as a Samson option, because, you know, Samson probably isn't a major character in their history. Whereas for Israel, Samson is a major character, a very well-known character in Israel's history, right? And so that's why they would talk about the Samson option, right? Or other people would use the Samson option to talk about them because they know the history. So for me, the first time I heard the word Samson option, I understood it completely, because I already knew that story. I was familiar with that story. Okay, but a lot of people, they're not familiar with that story. Okay, so I just wanted to make this video to teach you that story, because it's probably if most people have not read the Bible. Most people don't know the stories in the Bible. The whole Bible is full of different stories, characters that we use in English. David, Goliath, you know, Ruth and Boaz and Jezebel and Ahab, all of these people, right? And so a lot of our English language comes from the Bible. So many different idioms and phrases and everything. Okay, so there you have it. There you have it, guys. Samson option. And look at that. There's the moon. Moon is out there. And the sun is right there. Look at that. Moon and the sun together. So guys, thank you for joining me in this video. I hope that's clear. Let me know if you have any questions for me. I tried to make it kind of concise and tell you the story, but like I said, the story, it would take you maybe 20-30 minutes to read. So it's kind of interesting. It's kind of an interesting story about Samson's experiences with his with the women, different women, and Delilah was the last woman in the story. There's stuff that happens before that, and enemies, and it's an interesting story. It's kind of a cool story to read if you're interested in reading it. The link, I'll post the link down there somewhere in the pinned comment or in the description or something. But yeah, so it specifically means a country, like it specifically means Israel. It specifically means nuclear weapons, and if they get attacked by their neighbors, either probably nuclear attack, or because some of the neighbors, I mean, some of the people, some of the players, it depends on how wide that conflict were to go, right? Because the surrounding neighbors don't have nuclear weapons, so at least that's what is, you know, believed, that countries like Saudi Arabia or Iran or Jordan, you know, or Turkey, I mean, Turkey houses US nuclear weapons, I believe, or Syria, you know, so it's kind of believed that none of those people have nuclear weapons. So if they were to attack Israel conventionally, Israel would try to defend itself conventionally, probably first, but if it was losing conventionally, then it would resort to its Samson option and bring the whole temple down, right? Bring the whole region, the whole Middle East would come down. Maybe not the whole Middle East, but maybe parts of the Middle East. Maybe Damascus, you know, maybe Tehran, maybe, I don't know. We'll see what happens. What are your predictions, guys? The world is a kind of an interesting place here in 2024. So, I don't know, I talked about some of these things in my New Year's video, so you can watch that. I'll post that video somewhere up here, so you can watch that. But, guys, I'm enjoying the sun here. Just standing here, enjoying that bright sun with you guys. I like hanging out with you. So, thank you so much for joining me in this video. Thank you for all the nice comments you guys leave, and for always subscribing and sharing videos and liking the videos. I really appreciate that. So there you have it, the Samson option. Many people asked for this video after that New Year's video. So here you are. Hope you guys are happy. Thank you so much for asking about it, and for you know, I like to make videos about things that you guys are interested in. So let me know what you're interested in down in the comments. I read the comments, so I'll try to make a video on those things. So guys, until next time, as always, I love you so much. Hope you're staying safe, healthy, and happy, and hope you guys have some bright sun like this in your country. Man, that's beautiful. Got the sun in front of me and the moon behind me. Isn't that awesome? So guys, with that, as always, I'll see you over in the next episode of Mad English TV. Take care.